30 frames. You could do 720p slow motion, and you could do 4K, 2160 4K video recording. Alright, at 24 frames, I believe. And then down here, this is where you adjust your camera resolutions. So to take full advantage of all 21 megapixels, you're going to be stuck shooting in that 4:3 aspect ratio. But me, myself, as y'all know, if y'all check out some of my other reviews and my other camera videos, I'm really a big fan of that widescreen 16:9 aspect ratio. In my opinion, it just gets rid of that letterboxiness. So you can see. So you take a little bit of a hit in megapixel count, but in my opinion, that widescreen format is just a better shooting format. But again, if you want to take full advantage of all 21 megapixels, you're going to have to shoot in that 4:3 aspect ratio. Other than that, you have your other stuff here. You got your timer, all that good stuff. So you got 3 seconds, you got 10 seconds, and all of that other stuff there. For some strange reason, my Facebook app be crashing. And then you got your panorama. Alright, you got your geotag with location, and you got your shutter sound. So again, very simple, very straightforward, very user friendly. Now to get to the front facing camera, you tap this icon here, or you just quick twist to the wrist again, and you get into your front facing camera. How you doing, guys? Sorry that it took me so long. I was trying not to turn the table over. But again, it's very simple and straightforward for the front facing camera as well. Now, again, to take full advantage of all 5 megapixels, you're going to be stuck in that 4:3 aspect ratio. If you want to shoot in that widescreen, you're going to bump it down to 3.8 megapixels, and then you're going to have that nice 16:9 widescreen. Now, in terms of video recording, no 4K video recording on the front facing camera, but you do have 1080p at 30 frames a second and 720p slow motion for the front facing camera, and you do have access to your flash because the front facing camera has built-in flash in it, and you also have access to HDR photos. So that pretty much does it for the front facing camera. And again, to take a picture, just tap. To take a video, just tap this. To stop the video, just tap again. Or you can pause, and you can also take photos during videos. So again, that does it for the cameras on the Moto X Pure Edition and the camera interface. And again, when it comes to videos, this phone takes some of the best videos that I've ever produced. And I've said it on multiple occasions. Unless I'm reviewing something, this is the main producer for my YouTube channel. The bulk of my YouTube videos are shot using the cameras on the Moto X Pure Edition. And the same can be said for the photos as well. When it comes to photos, at least in my opinion, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get the photo you want, and you're rarely ever going to have to reshoot the shot. Okay? So that pretty much does it for the cameras and the user interface on the Moto X Pure Edition. Alrighty. Now, jumping over to the Z-Max Pro, aside from having your on-screen shortcut here, again, you can program the fingerprint scanner to take you directly into the camera, which is what I have set up here on my other finger. So you see that if I touch my finger to the scanner, it's set up to launch the camera. Now, in terms of the cameras on the ZTE Z-Max Pro, again, you have a 13 megapixel rear facing camera with LED flash, and it's capable of shooting 1080p videos at 30 frames a second and 720p slow motion. On the front, you have a 5 megapixel camera, which again is capable of recording 1080p videos, but you have no slow motion recording with the front facing camera. Jumping into the user interface on the cameras, I have to say again, this is one of my favorite camera interfaces because it's very clean, it's very simple, and it's very straightforward. That being said, it is not as clean, simple, and straightforward and user-friendly as the Moto X Pure Edition, but it does do a good job. So right here, as you jump into the camera, to simply snap a photo, let's use this as a model here, you just tap the shutter button. That's that quick. You got autofocus here. or you got tap to focus, and you can also adjust the exposure using that toggle there. Then this is access to your modes. So you got panorama mode, then you got multi-exposure mode, and you got slow motion mode. Other than that, you got auto mode, then you got pro mode, which you can dial this up to your heart's content. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, to switch to video recording, you just tap this icon down here, and now you're recording a video. And you can indeed take photos while in video by just tapping the shutter button again down here. Alright, you can pause and stop the video. Okay, jumping back over into auto, you go up here, this is how you get into your settings, and really you can do full screen or you can do the crop screen there. Now, one thing that I don't like about the camera app, the stock camera app on the ZTE Z-Max Pro, is it doesn't give you any camera resolution controls. Okay? At least for the rear firing camera. So you can adjust it. So all that you really can hope for is that you are taking full advantage of all 13 megapixels. Now there's no way to actually see in the stock app. Now I can see using my secondary app, which is Open Camera. So that's one of the reasons why I use Open Camera, so I can get full functionality out of the devices that I use. But in the stock app, you can't actually adjust the resolutions. I mean the pixel size for the rear firing camera. All right. Then when you jump into video, you can see you can record 1080p video, 720p video, 480p video, VGA, and video from MMS, which is pretty cool. You could do time lapse. You could lock focus when recording, and you have your geotagging and anti-banding. Alright. Then up top here, you have access to your flash, so you could turn it on. You could have it on auto, or you could turn it off. Same thing with the HDR. You could turn it off, you could turn it on, or you can have it on auto. I think I just turned it off. Okay, then you got your timer up here. So you got 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 0. Then you can switch to your front-facing camera by tapping this icon up here. And again, it's more the same for the front-facing camera, but with the front-facing camera, you got smile shot and you got your beauty mode, which, in my opinion, you should just turn that off. Okay? Then you got access to your timers again across the top here. So you got 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 0. Now, you don't actually have any shooting modes on the front-facing camera, so that's why you just have a shutter key right there. So snap a picture, go straight into taking a video. Again, with the front-facing camera, you can snap photos while in video just by hitting that shutter icon. You can pause and then you can stop. Now, jumping into the settings for the front-facing camera, you can control a little bit of the photo resolutions. So you can see, you could take photos at 2560 by 1920. You could do 2560 by 1440. You could do 2048 by 1536, and so on and so forth. Okay? And you got screen mirroring, you got point and shoot, so pretty much that makes it similar to the Moto X Pure Edition. You just turn it on, and you got your tap and shoot going on here. So you just tap the screen to shoot a photo. That's straightforward. Alright, again, in terms of video, you don't really have any megapixel resolution control. You just have video controls. So you got 1080p, you got 720p, you got 480p, VGA, and MMS, video recording. And that's pretty much it for the cameras and the user interface on the ZTE Z-Max Pro. That being said, these also are some great cameras, and you can get some great video and some great photos with these cameras on the ZTE Z-Max Pro. Alright guys, now that we've covered all that, you guys are probably wondering, in my opinion, who won this round. And in terms of photo and video quality, taking all the extra stuff out of the fray, because you know the ZTE Z-Max Pro doesn't have 4K video recording, you know, doesn't have front-facing flash, but just recording 1080p video and slow motion video. I had to say, in the slow motion video department, the Moto X Pure Edition has the edge, but in the 1080p video recording department, I'm going to have to call it a tie. There's going to be a tie there. Now, in terms of user interface and, you know, ease of use and more user-friendly camera interface, I'm going to have to give this one to the Moto X Pure Edition. In my opinion, the Moto X Pure Edition cameras and interface is a lot more user-friendly and easier to just pick up and use with no muss, no fuss, and the learning curve is actually not very much at all. So in terms of ease of use and overall camera experience, I'm going to have to give it to the Moto X Pure Edition. Now, that does not mean that the ZTE Z-Max Pro camera interface is bad by any means. No, it's actually very good, but they got a little bit of a ways to go if they want it to be as user-friendly as the Moto X Pure Edition. Alright, so moving on, the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the gaming performance. And pretty much across the board, both these phones, if you are a casual gamer like myself, they're going to be able to handle any game that you throw at them. Now, you guys already know that I've become addicted to Asphalt 8 and CSR Classic. So that's pretty much what I play on both these devices regularly, and I've had no issues. And if you stick to casual games like that, you should have no issues as well. Now, in the interest of speed, I'm going to skip over the benchmarks, but if you want to see the actual benchmark numbers, the raw numbers, please check out my full reviews of both devices, which will be linked down below in the video description. Also remember that the camera samples and the camera samples for both cameras will be linked down below in the video description as well. Alright, but in terms of gaming, I'm going to have to call it a tie across the board. In terms of benchmarks, it's just raw numbers, and these two CPUs and GPUs perform about where you would expect them to. Again, the Moto X Pure Edition has the Snapdragon 808 processor and the Adreno 418, and the ZTE Z-Max Pro has the Snapdragon 617 and the Adreno 405 GPU, and they perform about where you would expect them to. So we're going to skip over those. Now next thing I want to talk about with you guys are the overall battery lives and charging times of both of these devices. So let's start off with the Moto X Pure Edition because it's the easiest. Now, in terms of battery life, guys, you already know this is where it gets sad for the Moto X Pure Edition. In terms of battery life, at least in my experience, I'm only able to get 4 hours if I get that. It's a struggle to get to that 4-hour mark, guys. It's a struggle. Now, that being said, in the charging department, this guy charges up like a champ. Motorola included the turbocharger with this guy, and this guy goes from 0 to 100 with the quickness. So, from about 10 to 100, it's going to take about an hour. From about 15 to 100, it's going to take a little bit over an hour. And from about 20 to 100, it's going to take about 45 minutes to an hour. So this guy charges up with the quickness. This goes from 0 to 100 real quick. And that's pretty cool, considering that the overall battery life on this guy, at least in my opinion, is not great. Not great at all. Hopefully when you get the Android 7.0 Nougat update, it does a little bit better for the battery life. But in my opinion, the battery life on the Moto X Pure Edition is not so hot. Not so hot at all. That being said, let's jump over to the battery life and charge times on the ZTE Z-Max Pro. Keep in mind, guys, that the three factors that go into battery life are the battery capacity, which on the